Alright, if you guys have been viewing my channel, looking up like action movie reviews and my rants and stuff, you can tell that I'm a very big fan of the action movie genre. Mostly because it's the only film genre outside of science fiction and sometimes fantasy that really captured my imagination. Of course, with every adolescent guy and adult man, action films are like the only realm of pure entertainment that we enjoy usually, especially if it's done right. Some of the action movies that are closest to my heart are the ones from the late 80s and early 90s. Stuff like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard and shit like that. But in recent years, we haven't been making any great action films in the last 10-15 years. Outside of things like The Matrix or Kill Bill or something like that. The most that we get are the superhero films, which, and depending on who you ask, really don't count because they're not original works. This is basically they're taking licenses from comic book companies and turning these things into blockbuster films. So they really don't count. We haven't really had any awesome, truly great action films in a long, long time. It's gotten so bad that we had to bring back Indiana Jones, which is long overdue. You had to make a Die Hard 4, which was long overdue. You had to do another Rambo and Rocky, both of which were long overdue. And those don't really count either. Those are films that should have been made years ago. One of the last truly great action films, in my opinion, that came out of the United States was Speed. Okay, Rush Hour was awesome. Okay, Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2 was not as god-awful as everybody says it was. It's not. Bad Boys 2 was actually enjoyable. I was happy to watch Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 1 is not better than Bad Boys 1. But I was glad to watch it. But most of the great action films that are coming out now are either coming from out of Europe. Guys like Van Damme, who is underrated. Guys like Jason Statham, who went from playing Turkish and Snatch to becoming the Transporter, which is fucking awesome. And of course, a lot of stuff coming out of Asia. Stuff by Yen Wu-ping, Donnie Yen, Jackie Chan, Jet Li. The list goes on and on. Now we got, Thai action cinema coming out, which is just straight rugged and raw. You're like, oh my god, I have Spirited Killer, one of the older Thai action films, which had Tony Jaa in a minor role, and the plot was kind of strange, but damn, the action was damn good. Even though it doesn't look as top class as like one of these polished Hollywood films, but damn, it looked pretty damn good. It was pretty exciting, and that's the key thing: excitement. Eventually, once you had something like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard came out, pretty much every other action film that came out after those was just basically a ripoff of that formula. And of course, the whole buddy cop thing was sort of like started off with Beverly Hills Cop to some degree. But for the most part, we haven't really had a really great action film come out. Minus CGI, like no computers. Just straight stuntman and cars. Like none of that green screen shit. It's just a cop out. It's not like back in the old days where they had to use a guy to drive a car over like a little ramp thing and flip the damn thing over. Those days are over because they're too scared and they're too cheap to do it. And I have a lot of gripes about that. I mean, Hollywood is supposedly where everybody wants to go because that's where the money is, right? And if you want to make a lot of money, you gotta put out good product. You can't just make any old thing and expect people to buy. There's another thing too. I've always said this, and it's always been a source of contention for me. they always underestimate the intelligence of their fans. People know when they're watching a ripoff of something else, especially diehard fans. They know exactly when they're watching a ripoff of something they have already seen. And they don't appreciate that shit. And I don't either. I don't appreciate that shit. You know? I really don't. Now, that being said, I am excited about some of the things that's supposed to be coming up real soon. Well, I haven't seen The Forbidden Kingdom yet. That's supposed to be good. The Dark Knight is coming out, which I'm really excited about. Also, Ong Bak 2, which has yet to be released, from what I understand, is Tony Jaa's latest adventure film. Should be very interesting. And as a matter of fact, there's a lot of more DVDs coming out with Thai action cinema. I can't wait to go pick those up. But as far as stuff made in the United States now, we've lost the originality. For one thing, what they've discovered, which they should have discovered decades ago, is that martial arts is very popular. A lot of people like watching martial arts films. Now all of a sudden they're hiring Yuen Woo-ping to rehash the same fight scenes he did with Jackie Chan and Jet Li back in the late 70s, the early to mid 1980s. Basically doing it for Charlie's Angels and The Matrix and whatever the hell else they want to put wires in it to make it look good, to get that Crouching Tiger vibe. I guess that's what they're saying. It's like, Crouching Tiger made a couple of $1 million and won an Oscar. Let's do that in every action film, you know. But, you know, the only reason they were able to pull it off because they had actors that have been doing it for years, who are familiar with it, and it's believable, and they pull it off. Having Drew Barrymore stick her leg out and spin around and kick 5 guys in the face, I'm not buying it. Charlie's Angels was good escapist Saturday night, I ain't got nothing else better to do, midnight cinema type vibe, but novelty at best. But I just wasn't buying it. The Transporter was tight. I like the second one better than the first one, and I heard the third one's supposed to be really good, so whenever it comes out I'm gonna view it. But you know, America, what happened to action movies? What have y'all been doing? Y'all been sleeping on the action movie genre for a long time. They ditched it for the romantic comedy and the teen movie so they can make a fast buck. And for some reason, they honestly believe that Fast and the Furious is a franchise that deserves to go on for a 4th movie. As far as I'm concerned, they lost their momentum with the 2nd movie. And on top of that, they lost all focus whatsoever. Pretty much the main character of the story was not Paul Walker. It was Vin Diesel's character to begin with. If you had just followed his character along, you know, the storyline would have followed through it. And it actually would have been a viable and lovable film franchise. But that didn't happen. And they know where they screwed up at, so now they're making the 4th film into a prequel. Which means the 4th film is actually going to be a direct sequel to the first film. Or a sequel that pretty much lives up to the standard. But that's just my gripe about that. You know, I know this is just a fanboy ranting about action films, and they need to make better ones. 'Cause I need a life. See ya.